again, be some of the ways I talked about, some of the ways he's talked about, some of the things he proposes evolution predicts, eyes popping out of nowhere. These things would make me stop believing in evolution. A great way for me to become a creationist was if I actually, I don't mean to get too religious, but if I actually, you know, the Creator actually spoke to me. I'm not going to go any further because I know it's not supposed to be about that, but in terms of what would stop, keep me from believing in evolution, all of these things that we've talked about, that he claims, you know, evolution predicts, we don't witness, and if we did witness them, then I would stop believing in evolution. A great thing, if we did not have enough time for evolution to act, if the Earth was 6,000 years old, I would not be an evolutionist. If it was not 4.6 billion years old, roughly, I would not be an evolutionist.
The next question is for Bill. The question is, how can you expect to see a transitional form if all of the organisms living today are modern? And the questioner asks, makes the statement, because they are modern, they wouldn't be in the process of evolving, especially within a time frame that you cannot really see.
Okay. Well, I try not to read into what this person is saying, but he is saying, well, we don't expect to see any transitional forms. And if I misread or misinterpreted that, Joe, would you correct me?
I think you're stating it correct.
Okay, can you read it again real quick? I just don't want to misstate the person.
Okay. Your question is, how can you expect to see a transitional form if all of the organisms living today are modern? If they are modern, they wouldn't be in the process of evolving, especially within a time frame that you cannot live to see.
Okay. Well, first, I learn more from people like Phil who disagree with me than people who agree. You should always be cordial when you talk to people. I would talk to this person and politely and respectfully say, are you admitting there's no transitional forms? To me, that's what the question is saying. He says, well, we don't expect to see any transitional forms. So I could politely say, well, then why do you believe in the theory of evolution? It sounds to me, it's like because he likes the hypothesis and not based upon observation. You follow me? As I understand this question to be, he's admitting we don't expect to see transitional forms. Then what is your basis for belief in believing that humans have bacterial ancestors if you admit yourself you're not basing it upon observation? And again, I hope I'm not misquoting him, but I think that's what he's saying, that we don't expect to see the evidence. And I agree with him, we do not see the evidence.
I didn't take the question that way. I took it, perhaps, you know, written a little vaguely. I took it as talking about modern times, not witnessing these transitions, not witnessing drastic changes in morphologies of specific species or organisms. That's how I took the question. I agree with the general premise that, you know, there's just not enough time in any individual's lifetime to witness the vast changes that Bill is proposing. So I don't see the question proposed as you answered it. That's pretty much all I have to say.
All right. This is going to be our last question, and it's for Phil. Let's see if I can try to explain this the right way. Has an evolutionary increase in genetic information, such as in DNA, ever been observed?
I apologize for this. I know that there's many examples that they cite inside the book. So I'm just going to read a couple of this. Increased genetic variety in a population, increased genetic material, novel genetically regulated abilities. And then they go on to say a mechanism that is likely to be particularly common for adding information is gene duplication, in which a long stretch of DNA is copied, followed by point mutations that change one or both of the copies. Genetic sequencing has revealed several instances in which this is likely the origin of some proteins. For example, and they have 4 examples. There's other statements. I'll give you a couple examples. 2 enzymes in the histidine biosynthesis pathway that are barrel-shaped, structural and sequence evidence suggests were formed via gene duplication and fusion of 2 half-barrel ancestors. And then I'll just give one more. Yeast was put in a medium with very little sugar. After 450 generations, hexose transport genes had duplicated several times, and some of the duplicated versions had mutated further. So while that may not make a lot of sense to some of you, it doesn't make much sense to me. These are proposed instances in which information has been added. And again, I really encourage anyone who has questions, don't come to me. You can just grab my book and just read the citations, because every single answer they give is cited. There's all these websites, and these are from 2000, 2001, so these are recent occurrences. These aren't, outdated material. That's it.
And well, quickly, let's talk about mutations. You have more mutations in your genome than your parents had. Your parents had more mutations than their grandparents. You're going back in time, you're getting fewer and fewer mutations. To me, that's a problem for the atheist. You're getting a cleaner genome in the past. To me, I believe the designer created people with a clean genome, and mutations have entered into our life and is rearranging our DNA. So I think that would be a problem. Supposedly time makes things better. No, time makes things worse. You get a billion-year-old universe, things are going to be dead and decayed because of mutation, and that's not me. That's from John Sanford, Dr. Sanford, the geneticist. Real quickly on mutations. A mutation is the scrambling of an existing word. You've got 4 nucleic acids to make DNA. The longest word I could come up with 4 letters is Mississippi. If you randomly start arranging those words, which is a mutation, eventually you don't recognize it anymore. You lose information. So the problem for the evolutionist is to go from bacteria to blue whale. I was talking to John Sanford again. He said it's much more likely, but still impossible, for a blue whale to mutate into a bacteria. You follow me? That the blue whale is losing genetic information, that it's just statistically impossible for bacteria to become a blue whale. Real quickly, adaptation has to do with it. Sometimes people say, hey, animals are adapting. I believe this, and this has to do with genetic entropy, the DNA. For example, I went north with that young lady to Fresno, and it was freezing cold. They had a horse. The horse had hair 1.5 inches long. And I said, whoa, that's pretty cool. I called a biochemist buddy. I said, what goes on here? And do animals adapt? Absolutely, yes, animals adapt. You have enzymes in your body. Horse has enzymes in its body. You stick a horse in a cold environment, enzymes are triggered to grow longer hair. If we took this horse and put him in the equator, what would happen? It would have short hair. I'm from Buffalo. I froze every October and November. I'm tough in February and March, and it means that your body gets used to it. That's not evolution. That's not an increase in information. It's pre-existing enzymes in your body for you to adapt to your environment. And to me, that's information, that's design, and that's greatness, and that's real engineering too. But every animal has it. Fine.
Okay, we're at
It's my
closing.
family.
We're at closing statements.
Okay, closing statements. Well, first I'd like to say it was an honor to be here, and I consider you a friend. I had 2 meals with him, In-N-Out Burger, can't beat that. Very, very nice guy. Pleasure to meet you, and thank John for putting it all together. Okay, age-old question. What is it? Which came first, the chicken or the egg? How many people think it was a chicken? How many think it was an egg? You're both wrong. 2 chickens. Don't you know anything about sex? You need a male and a female. Let's look at the 2 worldviews to answer the chicken and the egg. According to the atheist, first there was nothing, no matter, no energy, and then from nothing we got matter and energy. Violation of the first law of thermodynamics. There was tremendous energy, and it expanded, as we call the Big Bang, to fill the universe with hydrogen and helium gas. Now, I know a little bit about gas loss. If you expand a gas into a vacuum, what's it going to do? Expand to the lower pressure.